Hey there, ladies. My name is Wendy Speak, and I am one of the co-authors of Triggers, Exchanging Parents' Angry Reactions for Gentle Biblical Responses. And here on my YouTube channel, one of the things that I do is address these triggers as they flare up in my own life. And if you don't know what a trigger is, good for you. You're very lucky. No, I'm just kidding. A trigger is that thing that your kid does, or those things that they do that cause you to explode, respond inappropriately, get angry. And it's not always what they do. Sometimes it's simply lack of sleep, always running late, husband's traveling, or maybe you're single momming it all the time. So these are the things that leave us weak and weary, and we respond, we react with a knee-jerk reaction in anger rather than gently and lovingly. And so I still have triggers in my life. Even though I wrote the book with Amber Leah, I still have them. And one of my ongoing triggers, one of the ones that I'm always having to talk myself down off a ledge from, how do I describe it? It's that run of letters at the end of my child's name. ADD, ADHD, OCD, ADD, ODD. Maybe it's dyslexia, maybe it's impulsivity for your kid. And what I say in one of the chapters of Triggers is, this is our child's challenge, but sometimes their challenges can challenge us. And that's true in the case of my oldest. He has ADD. He is an incredibly gifted kid. He's got a beautiful face and a beautiful heart, and I love being with him one-on-one when there's no stress. But during our homeschool days, and we have 2 homeschool days a week. He goes to school 3 days, and those homeschool days are needed for him because he has so much work to catch up on. How many things got by him that he didn't complete, that he didn't turn in? We've tried many different school models, and this is the one that's working best. But I'm not talking about school. However, I will start by saying this. When he was in 4th grade, we got a lot of encouragement from his teachers to have him tested for ADD. And the difference between ADD and ADHD is really the H, and that's hyperactivity. He's not really hyperactive. He was when he was young, but once I took him off gluten, that really calmed down. So did some stuttering, but that's just a little rabbit trail in case that resonates with some of you. Also keeping him off any artificial colors, dyes, and flavors, that really helps too. So really it's the ADD, it's attention deficit disorder, and that is his challenge. And one of the things that I say to him is, Caleb, that's your challenge, but it's not an excuse. You still have to get your work done. And that's really what I wanted to say to you and to my own heart today. Just because this is a challenge, it doesn't mean it's an excuse. Do you feel upset sometimes? Do you feel frustrated? Yes, it's not an excuse to explode. We've got to learn how to help them with their challenges without taking on the challenge and losing it with our kids. So in 4th grade, one of his teachers said, I really think you ought to have him tested. Maybe medication would help. And I have lots of friends who have used medication with their kids, and it's worked great. I have lots of friends that it has not. So this is not an ad saying, go get your kid on medication. I'm simply telling you part of our journey. So I took him, and I remember that first day he was sitting there answering 300 plus questions with a psychiatrist. And at the end of it, the psychiatrist turned to me and said, well, I'll tell you this much. If this were 200 years ago, everyone would be at Caleb's hut. Everyone in all the tribe would be coming over to his hut at night because nothing would run through the dry grass that would get away from him. He would have a bow out of his quiver, an arrow out of his quiver. It would be shot through his bow, and he would always have food because he's so sensitive to every impulse, every distraction. Nothing would get by him that he wouldn't shoot and have over an open flame, and everyone would be fed from the whole tribe. And I just thought, that is brilliant, because we look at impulsivity and we look at distractibility and we see all of the ways that it does not fit in our culture. But if you can take that child and that design out of the box of the schoolroom or our family home, it's possible that we can see this as a gift. And so I wanted to, just for a moment, tell you that story to say, step back. Take a look at your child and ask God, what were you thinking when you made my boy, my girl this way? And give me a vision for that so that I can come alongside them in the challenges rather than letting it challenge me too. And I can encourage them and point them to these wonderful things that God might have had in store, in mind for them, because they are fearfully and wonderfully made, even if their fearful and wonderful design challenges us. So, one of the things that I do with Caleb on a homeschool day, if he can't focus, if he comes to the table, and we like to start off with math because your brain's awake, you're ready to go. He's done some push-ups. His brothers have left for school, and I've given him his fish oil. I've done all the stuff. But sometimes it still doesn't work, and he's jittery and complaining and maybe using a whining voice, and I start using a whining voice, and he starts arguing, so I start arguing, and then I remember, wait, his challenge. It's not an excuse. Still have to get the work done, but how can we get the work done? How can I help him to get the work done? And so I'll say to him, Caleb, you're an incredible musician. You're never too distracted for that, so why don't you grab an instrument, go out to the garage, look up a song you want to learn on your iPad, and then come in and play for me, and we'll have lunch, and then we'll hit the books again. And so he'll do that, and a couple hours later he'll come in with a harmonica strapped to his mouth, ukulele or a guitar in his hand, and he'll play a song I've never even heard before, and I'll take a video, I'll send it to his dad. His dad's excited, and he's excited, and then we do a snack or lunch, and then we hit math. And maybe it's easy, and maybe it's not, but I'll say it again. Caleb, ADD is a challenge. It's a label, but it is not an excuse. There is no excuse for not getting your work done. So do a few more push-ups, run laps around the house if you need to, but we're getting this math done now. And so that's how I encourage him. I say, Caleb, it's not an excuse. And so that's what I wanted to do in this video. I want to look you square in the eyes and say, Mom, your triggers are not excuses. It is not an excuse to respond inappropriately to your kids. It is not an excuse for me to respond inappropriately to mine. Though we feel all the feelings, and this is one of the things I tell to another kid of mine who gets very overwhelmed. He's very overstimulated and he'll get emotional. I'll say, buddy, you get to feel all the feelings, but they cannot master you. And so, Mom, if you have a hard-to-handle boy, a hard-to-handle girl, all the labels, all the challenges, you can feel all the feelings, but you cannot let those feelings master you. You must keep on parenting well. So, that is my blessing for you. We will continue this series. We will be looking at more triggers. If you'd like to subscribe, I think there's a button right about there. I think there's even a bell you can hit that'll let you get notifications if you sign up. So do those things. You can follow me at wendyspeak.com. And it sure is a blessing to walk through these challenges with you. They don't have to. They don't have to master us. Feel all the feelings, but don't let them reign over you today. We have one God, one King, and He is on the throne, and He is reigning over our parenting if we let Him. Let Him today.